Okay, so get ready, because today we are going deep, deep into the story of us, of humanity.
From the savannah to, well, skyscrapers.
Yeah, skyscrapers and robots on Mars.
Exactly. And we'll be using Yuval Noah Harari's Sapiens and 21 Lessons for the 21st Century as our guides.
Perfect guides,
Yeah.
really. So what's so fascinating about Harari is that he doesn't, just rehash dates and names and stuff.
Right.
He gets into those underlying forces.
Yes, the beliefs, the ideas, the things that really, I think, drove us to where we are now, the technologies, too.
Absolutely. And sometimes leads to, well, some unexpected places. Like, for example, did you know our early ancestors weren't these, like, mighty hunters we often imagine?
Oh.
They were more like
Scavengers.
scavengers waiting for scraps.
Waiting for the lions and hyenas even to finish their meals.
Yeah, pretty humbling thought. But it also highlights a crucial point, right?
Right.
Dominance, like we have now, wasn't guaranteed for humans.
We weren't destined for this.
Not at all.
Yeah.
So we had to adapt. And, well, one of our most significant adaptations, fire.
Fire, the OG superpower.
Rather than just warmth. It was like, it allowed us to cook food. You get more calories that way,
Right.
And then that leads to, well, bigger brains, more complex brains.
Exactly. So then you have the foundation for what Harari calls the cognitive revolution.
Ooh, I like that. The cognitive revolution.
Yeah.
So we developed language then.
Yes.
Abstract thought.
Yes. And perhaps most importantly, the ability to believe in shared myths.
Okay, let's break down this whole shared myths thing because, well, it seems like a real turning point, a game changer.
Absolutely.
Harari says it's our ability to believe in these stories that allowed us to build these, like, complex societies.
Right.
Religions,
Mm-hmm.
nations, even corporations. It's wild.
It's fascinating. Think about like a company, say Peugeot. It's not a physical thing.
Right.
It's an idea.
It's a shared fiction.
Exactly. But it shapes the world, employs thousands of people, builds cars, influences economies. That's the power of belief, of collective belief.
Mind-blowing.
Right.
Really, really mind-blowing. Okay, so that kind of leads us to another, I think, pivotal moment. The agricultural revolution.
Right.
It's about 10,000 years ago we started farming. Seems like progress on the surface.
More food, more people.
Right. But Harari, he asked this really interesting question. He says, was it a trap?
A trap.
Yeah, like he suggests that agriculture, well, it made us work harder, backbreaking labor.
Vulnerable to famine, too, right? New diseases, too.
New diseases, exactly. So was it progress or was it a trap that locked us into a harder life?
Right. I mean, think about it. Did we really choose agriculture?
Or did it choose us?
Right.
I like that. And there's also, I think this is fascinating, the oldest known temple, Göbekli Tepe,
Yeah, Göbekli Tepe.
suggests that maybe religion, it might actually older than agriculture. So maybe we needed these shared myths and these big complex social structures before we could even think about settling down and farming.
Yeah, maybe. It's a compelling argument. Really makes you rethink, that whole linear, traditional idea of progress. What do you think?
I think I'm leaning toward the idea that, well, agriculture, maybe it did make life easier for every person, for individuals, but it was probably kind of inevitable for us as a species where we ended up.
Yeah, I mean, it allowed for huge population growth, which led to, even more complex societies and, well, everything we have today.
Yeah. And that growth and complexity, it led to something else pretty crucial. Money.
Money.
Just like those shared myths, right? It also relies on trust, a collective belief.
But this has value.
Yes, we all agree that this piece of paper or this digital token or whatever, it represents something valuable.
Even though really in itself it's worthless.
Right. But this shared belief, this trust, it made trade networks possible and empires.
Which shaped the whole course of history.
Imagine trading a cow for grain without money. It would be chaos. Complex economies wouldn't be possible.
Right, it'd be barter. That only works on a small scale.
So money, it allowed for amazing things. But Harari also says it has a dark side.
A dark side.
He says it can erode community, and it can turn the world into a marketplace. A little impersonal,
Right, you lose the human connection.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Like, we need money, but do we lose something along the way?
It's a trade-off. Definitely makes you think. I mean, look at the Roman Empire. Think about its legacy. Millions speak Spanish today because of it.
Oh, that's a great point. Empires, they do leave lasting impacts. Language, law, even culture.
And sometimes uniting people in ways you wouldn't expect.
It really makes you wonder, what legacies our modern world is going to leave behind.
Right. What will they say about us 1,000 years from now?
Exactly. Speaking of our modern world, how did the scientific revolution change everything? How did it change human history?
Oh, it was a total paradigm shift. It was like before people kind of just accepted fate,
Right.
but then suddenly everyone believed in progress.
We could shape our own destiny.
Exactly. Science gave us the tools, to understand the world, but also to actually change it in ways that, well, our ancestors couldn't even dream of.
It's a profound change. But here's what's interesting, and I think this is key. Maybe science's biggest discovery was that we don't know a lot.
Right.
There's so much we don't know.
Yeah.
And science can't answer these big questions like what's important or, what problems we should be focusing on.
It can't tell us what really matters.
That's where ethics come in.
Values too, right?
Yeah, values. So we have the power to change the world, but do we know what changes we should make? That's an important question. It's a recipe for some big ethical dilemmas.
Oh, absolutely.
Big ethical dilemmas. And this leads us to, well, one of Harari's most thought-provoking ideas, I think. He calls it the Frankenstein prophecy.
Oh, yeah. The Frankenstein prophecy.
So it's this idea that, well, our search for knowledge, our pursuit of power, especially with technology, like AI.
It could lead us to creating something we can't control.
Like Dr. Frankenstein's monster, that kind of thing.
Exactly. Like out of our control. It's a cautionary tale, really,
Yeah.
about really understanding the consequences of our actions, Think about genetic engineering.
Yeah, genetic engineering.
We might be able to enhance humans, enhance abilities.
Right.
But who decides what those enhancements should be?
Yeah, that's a good question. Who benefits?
And exactly. Who gets left behind?
Imagine a world where, I don't know, some people can afford to enhance their intelligence or even their lifespan,
Right.
but others can't.
Talk about inequality.
Massive inequality.
And even if we have, the best intentions, even then, if you're tinkering with life itself.
The building blocks of life.
Yeah, it's like there could be unintended consequences.
Like playing with fire.
Exactly. But on a much, much grander scale.
It's a scary thought. But exciting, too. Imagine a world without disease where everyone can live a long and healthy life.
Right.
But then what happens to the planet? What about overpopulation? Resource scarcity?
Yeah, you're getting at another key point of Harari's. Progress doesn't always mean happiness.
Right.
Think about it. We've come so far as a species, but are we really any happier? You probably have more comforts than a king from 500 years ago.
And more conveniences.
Way more. But are you happier?
That's a tough question. Yeah, I've got my phone, I've got streaming services, takeout apps.
Right.
But sometimes, it feels like something's missing. I don't know.
It's a common feeling. Harari, he suggests that happiness, maybe it's more about, your inner state of mind.
Oh, interesting.
Than your external circumstances.
Not what you have.
Yeah. He even looks at Buddhism and how they view happiness.
Oh, Buddhism. How does that fit in?
Well, Buddhism, it teaches that attachment, to these fleeting desires.
So emotions.
Yeah, emotions too. It's what keeps us trapped in this cycle of wanting more, of always wanting more.
So the more you chase happiness,
the more it eludes you.
You never get there.
You never get there.
So what? We should just give up trying to be happy. That doesn't seem right.
No, it's not about giving up on happiness. It's about changing your perspective.
Okay.
So instead of constantly striving for something more, something else, Buddhism, it encourages us to be content with what we have now and to accept the present moment.
To be present.
Yes, to be present.
That's easier said than done, I think.
Yeah.
Especially in our world. Everything's so fast-paced.
Achievement-oriented.
Yeah, achievement-oriented. Everywhere you look, it's like you need to be more, you need to do more, have more.
Right, always more. But it is a different way of thinking. It really is. But it aligns with Harari's whole argument about, rethinking progress, rethinking what it means to be happy.
Maybe real fulfillment, true fulfillment. It comes from within.
Yeah, understanding yourself, cultivating wisdom, compassion even.
Not just having a lot of stuff.
Right. Not accumulating things or chasing these external goals.
So maybe all this technological advancement, all this amazing stuff we have, it's not really leading us to a more fulfilling life.
Maybe it's just distracting us.
Distracting us from what matters.
From what really matters.
Makes you think. And it all ties in with, I think, one of the biggest challenges we face.
In the 21st century.
Artificial intelligence.
AI.
AI has the potential to solve so many of our problems. But there are definitely some concerns there, too. Big concerns.
Definitely.
So is it going to save us, or is it going to be our downfall?
I mean, are the robots going to take over?
Yeah. Are we all going to be replaced by robots?
Well, Harari doesn't really offer any easy answers. He wants us to look beyond the Hollywood scenarios
Right.
and think about the benefits and the risks of AI. I mean, it's already changing our lives.
Oh, yeah. In so many ways.
In so many ways. Think about all the algorithms that curate our social media.
All the news feeds, yeah. Or even like GPS navigation. Gets me where I need to go.
Exactly. And self-driving cars are coming.
They're right around the corner.
They are. And that's just, the beginning. AI, it's going to become even more a part of our lives.
In the next few decades, yeah.
Yeah. And it's going to affect everything.
Yeah.
From healthcare to education.
Even jobs. The job market.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's where ethics become really important. Really, really important.
Yeah. What happens if AI can, I don't know, diagnose diseases better than doctors can? Or teach kids better than humans? What does that mean for teachers? What happens if millions of jobs are just automated?
It's a big question. Harari, he thinks we might need to rethink the very idea of work.
Rethink work.
Rethink work in the age of AI.
Okay.
Maybe we need to focus on developing skills that, that machines can't replicate, like creativity, critical thinking.
Emotional intelligence, those human things.
Exactly. So it's not about like fighting AI. It's about adapting.
Adapting to this new world.
Right. And figuring out how, humans and machines can coexist. And even collaborate.
I like that. Collaborate.
Yeah.
Work together. So maybe we need to think about things like universal basic income.
Yeah, universal basic income.
That seems pretty radical.
It is. But it is gaining traction, as we think about all these potential changes to the economy.
Actual changes, too.
Exactly. And Harari, he stresses that it's not just about economics. We also need to consider the political implications of all this.
For AI, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, AI could make inequality worse. It could concentrate even more power in the hands of a few if we're not careful.
In the hands of these big tech companies.
Exactly. It's like we're on the verge of this new frontier, right? It's exciting, but we need to be smart about how we proceed.
We need to be wise. AI could be so powerful, so good.
But it could also, it could be misused. Or we could accidentally create some really bad consequences, unintended consequences.
So we're at a crossroads.
We are at a crossroads.
We have this opportunity, this incredible opportunity, to use AI for good.
We have to use it wisely, though.
Yeah. And avoid the pitfalls.
That's the reality of the 21st century. These technologies are here, and they're advancing so quickly. We have to navigate this new landscape.
Carefully.
Carefully, but also, I think, with a sense of excitement, because who knows what's possible?
It's true. So, okay, we've gone from mastering fire to AI. What else does Harari see as a big challenge in the 21st century?
Well, one of the most pressing is, it's the climate crisis. And he argues that it's not just an environmental problem.
Right.
It's social and political, too.
Yeah, climate change. Yeah, it's a hot topic. Do you think it's really, is it really the biggest threat to humanity? That's what some people say.
It's certainly one of the most significant challenges, for sure. And Harari, he argues that if we want to address it, if we want to fix it, we need to cooperate globally.
Globally. The whole world needs to work together.
The whole world. We need a collective shift in how we think. Because, think about it.
Yeah.
To tackle something this big, this complex, we need to work together as a species. We need to move beyond national borders and self-interest, short-term self-interest.
But, getting all the countries in the world to agree on something, on a plan, that seems impossible.
It is a huge challenge, no doubt. But Harari reminds us that humans, we've done amazing things in the past. We've overcome these seemingly impossible obstacles by working together.
Working together toward a shared goal.
Exactly. Think about smallpox. We eradicated smallpox. Or the moon landing.
Yeah, good point. We put a man on the moon.
We did that.
Yeah.
We did that. But those were more defined goals.
Climate change it's so big, it's so complex.
It is. And Harari, he emphasizes this need for a change in how we think. We need to move away from this mindset of, individual consumption toward a more sustainable way of living. It's about recognizing that we're all connected, that our planet, it's not separate from us. Our well-being depends on it.
So it's more than just, recycling, using less energy.
It's a complete reframing of how we view the planet.
Yeah.
of our relationship to the planet.
We're a part of nature. We're not separate from it.
We're part of it. And what we do, it affects the whole ecosystem.
It's a beautiful vision.
Yes.
I don't know. Is it realistic? I mean, look at the political climate. Everywhere, it seems like short-term gains are more important than long-term sustainability.
It's a challenge, no doubt. But Harari, he believes we can change. We can rise to the occasion. We've done it before.
When we face these existential threats,
Exactly.
it's like that quote, never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world.
Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has.
It's true. It's the only thing that ever has.
And that's the message of hope. I mean, amidst all these complex challenges, Harari, he believes we can do it. We have the ingenuity.
And have the resilience.
The resilience. And we have the power to come together and create a better future, a more sustainable future, a more just future.
That's good to hear. Because it's easy to get, to get bogged down in the negative headlines.
It's easy to feel overwhelmed, but it's important to remember that we have a choice. We have agency.
We're not just passive bystanders.
Right. The choices we make today, well, they're going to shape the world of tomorrow.
So we have a responsibility to be informed, to engage in these conversations, and to make good choices, conscious choices that align with the future we want to create.
Exactly. And that's the power of knowledge. Knowledge empowers us to act, to make a difference.
Okay, so we've covered so much. Fire, agriculture, money, empires, science, AI, climate change. What else does Harari talk about? What other big changes are happening in the 21st century?
Well, he talks about another really crucial element, and it might not seem as obvious at first, but it connects everything we've talked about.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What is it?
Data.
Data. I'm not sure I see the connection.
Well, think about it. Beta, it's the lifeblood of the information age.
Right.
It's what fuels the algorithms that shape our online experiences.
Yeah.
It powers AI, which is evolving so rapidly.
Right.
And it's transforming healthcare through personalized medicine.
Okay. So you're saying data is it's like the new oil, the most valuable resource of the 21st century.
It is in a way, but it's even more than that. It's more pervasive and potentially more powerful. Harari, he says that whoever controls data, whoever can collect it, analyze it,
they're going to have a lot of power, a lot of influence.
They will in the coming years, for sure.
Makes you think about all the information that companies like Google and Facebook, all the information they're gathering.
Oh, yeah.
About all of us. What websites we visit, what we buy, our location, even our private conversations. It's a little scary.
It is. And Harari, he talks about data privacy, about the need to regulate how this information is used because it's a complex issue.
Yeah, who's going to regulate these companies though? I mean, it seems like they have more power than some governments.
That's a good question. But Harari, he says we can't be passive. We can't just let them do whatever they want.
Right.
We have to find a way to ensure that data is used ethically and that it's used for everyone's benefit, not just to make a few corporations even richer.
So we need a new social contract for the digital age.
We do.
One that protects privacy.
And make sure that the benefits of data, they're shared equitably. Equally. And that's the challenge we face. We have to be proactive. We have to shape the rules of the game now, before it's too late.
Because the future, it's not predetermined.
No.
We decide. So it's transformative, this moment. But it could also be dangerous if we're not careful.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the essence of Harari's message. We have to be aware of the good and the bad, the light and the shadow of all these advancements.
I'm definitely feeling a little overwhelmed by all this, but also kind of energized. I want to learn more. I want to be part of the conversation because it's clear we need to be thinking about these things and making informed choices that are going to shape the future.
And that's what these deep dives are all about, encouraging you to think critically, sparking your curiosity, and empowering you to be a part of shaping the future.
So much ground covered, really. I mean, from early humans just trying to get a little food to AI and all this incredible potential. But you said data is, it's like this new frontier, the key to power in the 21st century. Doesn't it make us all kind of vulnerable, though?
It's a great question. All this information about us, our habits, even our thoughts are being collected, analyzed. It's a big deal.
It is.
Harari, he calls it dataism. It's almost like a new religion.
A new religion.
Where algorithms, big data, they become the ultimate authority.
Wow. He even suggests that we might Well, we might start trusting algorithms more than our own feelings
Mm.
or our judgment. That's, I don't know, a little scary. Are we talking about giving up free will to some computer program?
It's not really about like consciously surrendering. It's more subtle. I mean, think about it. Algorithms are already shaping our online experiences.
Yeah.
Like all the time they choose what we see on social
Here,
media.
the products were shown, yeah.
Right. And even who we might date. We think we're making these choices ourselves, but are we?
It's like those targeted ads that seem to know what you want before you do.
Oh.
I always thought that was kind of creepy, but I never really thought about it on a larger scale.
Right, it's everywhere. Now imagine algorithms that can predict, I don't know, your career choices, your political views,
Even your health.
your health, like if you're likely to get certain diseases.
All based on the data you create, just by living your life.
It's both amazing and a little unsettling. So, who's really in control?
Are we shaping technology or is it shaping us?
Big question.
Oh,
And Harari, he wants us to think about this, to make conscious choices.
about how we interact with technology.
Right, how much power we give it.
It's not about rejecting technology altogether.
No, it's about using it wisely, ethically, being mindful of how it impacts us, our lives, our society, our sense of self, everything really.
We need to be able to think critically.
To question the algorithms, question the assumptions that shape our world, you know.
It's a lot to think about, but yeah, it feels important. I mean, if we're not careful, we could end up in a future where we've lost control,
Yeah.
where algorithms are making decisions for us, predicting our behavior, and I guess ultimately defining who we are.
That's the warning. But Harari also says we can shape this future. We can use technology for good. We can create a world where data, it empowers us instead of controls us.
It's like we're at this crucial moment. The choices we make now, they're going to have big consequences, lasting consequences. It's a lot of responsibility. But it's exciting too, right?
It is. That's what makes all this so fascinating. By understanding, what's happening, the good and the bad, we can make better choices and
Sure.
create a future we actually want.
So where do we go from here? What's the takeaway? I mean, we started on the savannah. Now we're in the digital age. We've seen empires rise and fall, the power of stories, money, science, technology. It can liberate us, but it can also enslave us.
Harari doesn't give us easy answers because, well, the future, it's uncertain. But that's also what makes it so interesting. He says we have to be adaptable, keep learning, and be open to what we don't know. Be curious.
I like that. Embracing the unknown. It's kind of like, those early humans exploring their world. And now here we are, trying to navigate the 21st century.
Yeah.
But that same drive, that human desire to understand, explore, push the boundaries, it's still there.
It is. And the story's not over. We're writing it with every choice we make.
So much to think about, I have to say. I'm feeling inspired. Inspired to keep learning, to keep asking questions, and, well, to really think outside the box.
That's great because, as Harari says, the future, it doesn't just happen to us. We create it.
Well, on that note, that's our deep dive into human history and the forces that are shaping our future. But here's a final thought for you to ponder out there listening. If you could shape one aspect of the future, one area where you could make a real difference, what would it be? And what choices would you make to create that future? No right or wrong answer, but it's worth thinking about. What do you value? What kind of world do you want to leave behind?
That's what it's all about. These deep dives, sparking your curiosity, making you think, and empowering you to shape the future. So keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.